want to say a little bit about sacrifice. We can think of sacrifice as a primitive ritual in which an animal is slaughtered to appease the gods. Life is very difficult, and to improve your prospects, you want to do everything you can to get the gods on your side. A lamb or a goat is a small price to pay. Human sacrifice is not out of the question. We have the famous story of Abraham, who was instructed by God to kill his son Isaac. It's a high price. You have the love of a son set up against obedience to God. Abraham was willing to comply and was about to do it when God stopped him. Obedience was enough. In a very famous story, a horror story, I guess I would say, the lottery, the people in a town draw lots once a year to see who will be stoned to death. It's a shocking tale and one that cannot easily be reasoned away. The people in the town have agreed to sacrifice one adult each year. They have been doing it for time out of mind, and the only explanation other than group insanity is that they do this in order to avoid a much greater calamity. Many readers shrug this off by thinking, okay, I get it, but those townspeople are seriously delusional. They're like the people in the Jonestown mass suicide. Their beliefs are cruelly misguided and far from what we would call normal. But you could argue that normal exists only so long as the pressure is off. When hardship and death appear, scarcity and want and fear, normal is the first thing to go. Certainly we, as a society, are not in the habit of sacrificing any of our members, nor do we kill any animals. I think we would do either, and very earnestly, if we believed there was a God or gods who designed our fate and would be favorably inclined toward us if we did such things. We think of that stuff as pagan, beneath us, and therefore we don't do such things. We don't do them because we don't think they'd work. Yet the prevalence of religion in our culture indicates that people do believe in a deity, but if they try to curry favor, it is not by sacrifice. It would more likely be by prayer, good works, and sincere devotion. In our culture, we do not really practice sacrifice of any kind. We avoid it if we can. In baseball, there is the sacrifice fly and the sacrifice bunt, which can advance runners or produce a run. The hitter is not charged with an at-bat and is given an RBI. Hitters would prefer to sock a home run. Most fans would prefer to see it. Sacrifice is giving something up in order to get something else. Most of us would much rather get something directly, without the bother and loss of sacrifice. This is why so many people, and our government, are in debt. We are unwilling to give up anything to get what we want. We take what we want and don't worry about the consequences, even if the consequences are ultimate ruin. We think that day will not come, or that it can be avoided, that day of reckoning, and that belief is every bit as foolish and misguided as the one that led all the people to drink the poison, Kool-Aid, as the one that led a town to stone one of its own to death. We are crazy to think we can get away with this. Sacrifice, far from being a punishment, may be a good thing. Sacrifice may not be about loss. The roots of the word suggest a meaning of making sacred. Sacrifice is at the heart of another famous story, the gift of the Magi, and in that story we see that sacrifice is closely aligned with love. If you want something, you devote yourself to acquiring it, surrendering whatever it takes in order to get what you want. The act of giving up becomes pleasurable in itself. No pain, no gain. The pain is a blessing, a clear message that you are on your way to getting what you want. In sacrifice, what you may be giving up is not apparent to you. It is insignificant because you are completely focused on what it is you want. Of course it comes with a cost, but that is a sacrifice you gladly make. And the economics holds. The greater the sacrifice, the more we value the prize. Which is why they can still have that slogan on the New Hampshire license plates. Live free, or die.